Okay, and welcome back to the currency game. I'm standing up because I was trying to get a good point of view as far as to hold the tablet because I'm using the tablet to record myself and I'm not even on camera. So I'm not trying to be a professional YouTuber, but I use YouTube to share. But the last video I did was a short, and it was about the number one reason that people lose at trading, and it is because they enter at the wrong point. They have bad entries, and I have definitely been there. But I have developed a strategy that I use religiously now. And when I don't use that strategy, I typically will lose the trade. And that happened probably about a month ago. And I was like, this is why I follow my strategy. And because of this, I'm usually able to predict where to enter and where to get out. And I'm also which makes me a very restricted trader. And a conservative trader, which I mean by conservative, I more focus on the risk than the profits or gains. I will look at the profits or gain, but I'm first gonna look at the risk of the loss because I wanna keep my loss under 2%, if at all possible. If I go over 2%, it's because I really believe there is a chance. I don't even like to go there. Let's not even talk about that. So let's just stick with the under 2% because usually when I do that, I'm in a very good position. And if I can't get the 2%, usually I don't take the trade. And that's where the restricted trader comes in. And that's where the discipline comes in. But that allows me to be a very good trader. And it goes along with the compound trading, which I'll do a whole nother video on what I mean by compound trading. But let's get into it, and we're going to go very in detail, and you might have to play this over and over and test it with yourself. Now, this is only going over long trades because that's typically what my strength is trades that are long. And what I mean by long for people who are new to trading is where you buy low and you sell at a higher price. Shorts are where you're basically buying up high and selling when you make money off the money going down, right? And I'll do a whole nother, maybe a short of why I focus on long trades versus shorts. All right, so let's get into it. This is XLM. I'm gonna use this chart as an example of how to know where are the best opportunity points to enter a trade. So before we even go into that, the first thing you're gonna have to do is set your chart up. So I've already have this chart set up, but I'm gonna just go over the things that you have to do to set it up. For me, this is for my strategy, right? So there are different strategies that you can do, but I'm just going over what I do. So I need to know where my demand zones. I need to know how are we trending on a higher time frame. I'm on a 4-hour chart, which is a higher time frame. I can also use the daily chart. And I kind of already have that. I use parallel trend lines instead of regular trend lines or parallel channels. So I basically use that channel to get the tops of the peaks as it was going down, right? So we had this major rush up and then started doing this major retracement back, right? And so I would do that first. Let me just show you how I do that. So I go to the very top, make a connection It's got the angle thing on. Let me take that angle thing off. Okay. So let me do it again. Go to the top, connect to the next peak, and then bring it down to this peak right here, the top of this peak. Now I will kind of make it a little bit more visible. There we go. And then hit lock, right? So if you notice, it kind of stayed along here. Some things went out. The other good thing I like about the parallel channel is I can go right here, click on this, and it's gonna give me an extra trend line that's above that channel that we just created, right? Now you can adjust this. It looks like it pretty much covered it. You know, it's got a little peak here with the 0.25. Okay, so now I know I'm trending down. Then I want to look for areas where it hit a point, a bottom, and then shot up, right? And so like this one right here. And so what I'll do is take like this candle right here was where it was, you know, basically falling, and that was the lowest point. So I'll use that candle to draw a rectangle. I've already drawn it, but basically I would just start from here, come here to this bottom of this gray candle, and then do extension. All right, so now I have that demand area, but my price is all the way down here, right? So where else is it like doing a bunch of touches and then going up? So I have some interest right in here and then down here, right? Where it touch here, and the most recent was right here, right? So as it was doing this, I was probably updating this demand level. So I used the last, like the first bottom to my left, right? From where we are. And it was right here and right here. So I use this candle to draw my rectangle. And it ended up doing it again over here, right? So, or touching this area again and then starting to go up. But when I did it over here, it was before anything had happened over here, right? So when things were going up and then coming back down, I just knew that this demand area was here. I put an alert on that area so that when it touches that area again, I'm going to be like zoned in as far as where I probably can get in, as long as it's like comes back and stays in that area. Even if it were to drop out and liquidate like it did right here, right? It dropped out of this area, which is still fine because this is area 2. It's not below the lowest point on here. And one of my latest things that I do is on this rectangle, you go inside. Where is it? If I go inside of it, it has a check mark where I can put middle. And I use that for a price entry in a demand zone. So if I go down to I can go down to the 15-minute or the hourly, but I'm gonna go all the way down to the 15-minute to see. And this is how I get the 2%. So it came out of here, it went up, came back down, and so now I can put a buy limit order. Let me just check first. So if I do right at this line, remember, because I'm always going to check to see if I can get 2% first. That's my first priority before I look at the target. So it's a little over 2%. So when it came, so that's above, right where that middle line is. It, so like it went up and then it came back down. And I saw 2 green candles. I could come in right above that first green candle. And now I'm at below 2%. I'm willing to take that risk, being that we're in a demand zone. We're also let me see. The other thing that I consider is that we're below the 50% area. From this bottom to this top, I drew a retracement, and we're well below the 50% area. So that below 50%, and we're in a demand zone that has shown previously that price went up at this point, in this area, and I'm below 2% on the hourly. So I have a whole hour to react. So when I saw, when I would see a candle, a green candle, right? And on the 15-minute. So I got 15 minutes to react. So what I would have been doing is putting an alert above each candle as this was happening, and alert above and below. I probably would have went even zoned in to the 5-minute for the alerts so that I can know a little bit sooner. So if I go down to the 5-minute, where are you? Here we go. Right? So it's coming up. It made its way up, came back down. Now I want to know, like, I see that I can get less than 2% above these gray candles right here. When it started going down and I saw a 5-minute candle do this, I could have even, once I saw that green candle, I could have even put it above there and got a little bit lower or less, even more less than 2%, right? But I'm going to keep it right there where it's at. And so I could put in a buy limit order after it's done this type of movement, right? It's got a green candle here. It still could go against me, but the most it's going to go is 2%, right? And, or I could, yeah, because I'm going to do it below this lowest candle, I'm well below this lowest candle, and I'm still not at 2%. Like, I'm good. So I feel confident about this. Even if it were to go against me, it's only 2%, and that gives me enough room. That's why I like to keep it with 2%. That gives me enough room that if it were to even take my stop, I didn't lose too much to not be able to get back in. To get back in if it goes against me, and then it's still in that good area of demand. Now, this is another thing I have done in the past. Sometimes I won't even put a stop. That's just the honest God truth. I've said this plenty of times, but sometimes I still will not put a stop. But because I'm teaching you, I don't want to tell you not to put a stop, But if you are going to put a stop, make it as least amount of a stop, because it can get taken and go the opposite direction. So, but now I'm into the trade once it hits it, and I still keep my stop down here. I'll let it, oh, I'm sorry. And then the next step is, where's my next resistance? So the way I go about doing that is, let's go back up to the 15-minute. And I see this resistance area here. So I'm going to go to that resistance area. 7%. Not bad. I probably could even go up higher, but I probably would have targeted did layers, being that that's the 50% levels up here. So I probably would have did most of it right here, and then so as it was going up, I probably would have did layers to up to sometimes I do layers if it's worth it. It was extra, 1 or 2% more, it's probably not worth my layers. I would just stick to right below there where it went before. And then just call it a day. If it goes above that, I'm fine with that. I got 7%, almost 8%, well, a little over 7%. And that's how I would enter it, right? I would go ahead, try to find which direction I'm going. I know I'm doing a downward trend, which means that I'm probably not going to make a higher high than the last high, and which would be this high was the really last high, right? When it came back down, it came up. This was pretty much the last highest high. So I know it was probably not going to go past there because we're in a downward trend, and it's below the 50% level, and there's resistance right here. So this is shown to be a resistance area. So that's where I would have just left it alone. Just go ahead and set a target, and that's it. And basically, I wouldn't go back in until whether it's this chart or another chart, until it's back into its demand zone. I do the same process over and over and over. And that's probably one of the main reasons why I stay with long trades, because it's the least amount of risk. out of all the types of trading to me. Like when you do shorts, you kind of have to do these drawdowns, and it's not worth it because I like trading because it is, to me, the least amount of work that I have to do to make money. And I try to keep it as least amount of stress as possible because my end game is that I'm able to make money with trading when I'm sleeping, right? And I have been able to do that. So, and the way I'm able to do that sometimes, because most of these trades sometimes happen in the middle of the night when I am sleeping, so I'm able to actually put in a buy limit, it hits it, and then I'm able to put in a price target and a stop loss if I want to, both at the same time with I think it's called OCO, or I can put it in whenever I feel like it. So that's pretty much it. I know it took a long time for me to say all of this, but I go through this whole process really quick because the more you do it, the more it will just become routine. And it, like I said in the other video, it'll almost become boring because you're doing the same thing over and over and over. So, which I'm okay with because especially for trading, I don't need a whole lot of complexity. So, but that's it. That is it. So if you need to play this over and over and practice it for yourself, and I would say not just practice it with a chart, but also practice actually making the trade. Not paper trade, but actual trade. And that's the great thing about crypto is that you can trade with $10, $20 and practice doing exactly what I just did. And if you lose 2%, what's that? $4? If you sticking with the rules that I just mentioned. So that's it. Well, let me know if you have any comments or questions in the comments. Thanks. Bye-bye.